Hello there. So I guess I want to start this by saying that in the past couple of years, I've become very addicted to a show by a YouTuber that goes by the name of the Angry Videogame Nerd. And I'm sure there's plenty of you out there that are familiar with him and his work. It became this ritual of mine where I would just watch Angry Videogame Nerd every single night before going to bed. For some reason, the anger and the nostalgia factor just work really well as a way for me to get to sleep. I don't know. But as a result, I kept hearing that theme song in my head every single night, again and again and again. So eventually I just got to the point where I was like, all right, I want to figure out this song. I want to find out what key it's in. I want to find out what chords he's using. I want to see what you can do with this. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly that. So we're going to dissect the Angry Videogame Nerd theme song and figure out what key it's in, what scales you can use, what chords are involved, and a bunch of other stuff. So let's get started. Hello, so we're talking about the AVGN theme today, and just wanted to talk about what key this is in, what chords you can actually use, and what scales can go on top of those chords. And I say what chords you can use because this song is, I believe, power chords throughout. So I wanted to break that down first because it's kind of difficult to know what key you're in if it's all power chords, right? So this song is really interesting. It was written by Kyle Justin, as any Angry Videogame Nerd fan probably knows by now, and it utilizes the concept of relative key to differentiate the verses from the pre-chorus and the chorus. I wanted to get into that and just explain that this song is basically in two keys at the same time. So starting with the verse, we have a progression that suggests that the song is in the key of F minor. So we have the chords F, we have A flat, G, and then C, right? That whole. All power chords right now. So here's what the progression would actually sound like if we incorporated both triads and quadrads. So in other words, your open chords and seven chords. So even with the power chords, you can kind of tell that there's a dark mood that's going on with this progression. And you can test out my theory that it's in the key of F minor by playing an F minor scale over the top of it like this. Right? And just play around with that and listen to how it sounds. See if it fits. Now, notice how the mood shifts when we transition into the pre-chorus. So up until this point, the verses revolved around that F minor chord, right? The F minor is what's known as the tonal center of the progression, right? So it's kind of revolving around this. And then it goes back to that tonal center. But the tonal center shifts during the pre-chorus from F minor to A major, which, as you can see here on the fretboard, is going to be the third chord of F minor. So looking at all of the chords in the pre-chorus, we have as follows: A flat major, E flat major, and then finally F minor, back to E flat major, then finally D flat major, which repeats, right? So we have. So granted, this was all power chords, right? But I wanted to play what the progression would sound like if you added the third back into each power chord, each dyad. And here it is, just power chords. Now going back to triads. So things are starting to brighten up a lot more in the pre-chorus because we have changed the tonal center from that F minor to its relative major, A flat major. So this is the whole concept of relative key that I'm talking about. You might have seen some videos that I have on my channel before where I was talking about the relative minor. It goes both ways, right? Every minor key has a relative major key inside of it, just like if you go to any major key, there's a relative minor inside. So as we all know with the relative minor can be found at the 6th degree of any major scale, so the 6th note of the major scale, right? So let's test that theory out right now. If I think that this is in the key of A flat major, right? Here's my A flat major chord, and here's the corresponding major scale to go with it. Right? So there's my scale. And like I said, the relative minor can be found at the 6th degree of any major scale. So in other words, the 6th note. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's F. Okay? And that can be a great way to test all of this sort of stuff. Conversely, if we go to the F minor scale, right? I said before that the relative major can be found at the 3rd degree of any minor scale, so the 3rd note. So we have 1, 2, 3. That's A flat. Make sense? Now we've deduced that the pre-chorus is in the key of A flat major. And to really hammer this home, a great way to test this would to record yourself playing this progression. Right? And then on top of it, you play that A flat major scale. Okay, so now we're at the chorus. And once again, we're just keeping it in the key of A flat major, but this time we're utilizing a 1-4-5 progression to keep it that much more bright and shiny. So we have and to be more specific, it's actually like a 1-5-4 for the most part. So it's like 1, 5, 4, which repeats 3 times, right? And then finally we just do like a blitzkrieg bop where we go 1, 5, 1. Actually, they go to a 1-4-1, but this is slightly different, so 1-5-1. It reminds me of Blitzkrieg Bop a little bit. And finally, we have the bridge, right? So if you listen to the whole song, you know, not just the actual intro to every video that you watch from AVGN, but the actual full-length song, you'll notice there's a bridge in there, right? And once again, we go back into very dark territory, right? The bridge sounds way more dark than the chorus and the pre-chorus. And what's cool is that now it revolves around the 2 chord, which is going to be a B flat minor. And it uses the following chords. So we have B flat minor here, and then D flat major. Then it goes to C minor, ending on E flat major. Okay, so we have a 2, 4, 3, 5 progression. Let's hear that again. Very dark, very tense. And again, it creates some really nice contrast between the verses and the choruses and the pre-chorus and all that sort of stuff. It's just kind of like this emotional roller coaster. It's just a very clever way of writing songs. It's a great way to break up the monotony and to add contrast throughout. So you kind of forget about what you just heard, because in my opinion, that's what a good bridge does. The bridge is there to serve as a way to kind of make you forget about everything that you heard before it. And once the verse comes back or the chorus comes back, it's kind of like, oh, okay. If it's a good hook, then it'll do its job. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. So there it is in a nutshell. So after going through my process of analysis, I've determined that the theme is in the key of A flat major, or F minor, if you want to think of it the other way around. And I hope that this knowledge is useful to you. So I'm just wondering if there is a particular song that you'd like me to cover next. If so, drop me a comment and I will certainly consider it for another episode coming up soon. Anyway, thanks for watching, it means a lot. And if you like what you've seen so far, be sure to subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and tell a friend or tell an enemy, whatever. But that's it for me, so I will see you guys on the next video.